Hey, what's up everybody? Kyle Stufenhorst here, and we're on site where we're going to be installing a board and batten look using LP SmartSide Expert Finish vertical siding. Now before you start your install of your panel, you're going to want to make sure that your structure has a minimum of a 7/16 structurally rated panel. In this case, we're using an LP Weather Logic panel with an integrated WRB and an additional layer of protection with a rain screen. All right, before we get into the install, let's talk about some of the details that you need to keep in mind. Now, when your SmartSide products show up on site, you're going to want to make sure that they are on a nice flat surface, off the ground, and either under roof or with an additional covering to keep them protected. Now, let's start with some of the installation best practices when installing Expert Finish vertical siding. You're going to want to make sure that your nail placement has a 6-inch perimeter spacing, and you're going to want to stay 3/8 of an inch off of the edge of the siding. Now, in reference to spacing your product, you're going to want to make sure that in between each panel you have a 3/16 gap. But in talking about maybe your clearances off of your finish grade, you need to stay 6 inches above that. You need to stay 1 inch over any sort of hard surface like a deck, patio, or concrete, and make sure that that surface is also sloped. Now, if you're installing over top of flashing, you can stay 3/8 of an inch away from that. Now, the type of fastener that you're going to want to use is important. It needs to be a minimum of a 0.092 shank diameter. It needs to fully penetrate your structural sheathing by a minimum of a 1/4 inch. It needs to be a hot dip galvanized equivalent or better coating. And when installing your Expert Finish siding, you're going to want to make sure that your nails don't get overdriven. But if that does happen, just make sure that you seal that overdriven nail. So once we have our vertical siding installed, let's talk about trim, because there's actually two different ways you can do it. You can install your trims prior to the vertical siding. Personally, I like to do it on top of my siding as much as possible. I think it gives a really nice clean look. And my favorite part of a board and batten install is the battens. So let's talk about that. You're going to want to make sure that you fasten it properly. We're using an 1.5 inch batten, where we need to make sure we have a nail top and bottom, and then we need to stagger our nails up the batten every 24 inches. So now that we have our siding and trims installed, we're going to go ahead and cover all of our exposed nail heads and any minor nicks or scratches that may have occurred during the installation with our Expert Finish touch-up kit. And you can use that same touch-up kit to cover all of your cut edges. So now that we're done installing what I would consider my favorite style of siding, which is the board and batten look, if you want more information, make sure you go check out lpcorp.com, where you can find the installation instructions and the vertical siding technical note.